Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday night, and welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Doc Watkins. I'll be your host. I'm joined by Brandon Guerra on the drums, Mike Porter on the bass. My special guest tonight is Grammy-nominated drummer and band leader, Mr. Sammy Miller. We'll get to the music in just a minute, but first, let's have a look at the JazzTexas news. T-Mobile plans to provide free internet service to millions of students and their households as the pandemic ushers in a new normal of remote learning. The new initiative guarantees T-Mobile customers will continue to receive their normal expected service of crappy reception. CBS All Access announced that Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery will introduce non-binary and transgender characters. In the premiere episode, the USS Voyager's Captain Catherine Janaway makes a shocking discovery. She's a dude. The world's loneliest elephant, who has become a cause célèbre for animal rights activists around the world, will be allowed to leave his Pakistani zoo on condition that he return at some point soon. Zoo officials say that to make sure he doesn't escape, they're figuring out how to find an electronic ankle monitoring boot large enough to fit an elephant. In music, Destiny's Child alums Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams celebrated Beyoncé's 39th birthday by sharing sweet tributes on social media. Meanwhile, alums of the Commodores, who used to sing backup for Lionel Richie, celebrated his birthday by texting him from their Uber driving shifts. And finally, in sports, the Houston Texans and quarterback Deshaun Watson agreed to a 4-year extension with an annual salary over 4 years of $39 million. Meanwhile, the Houston Astros agreed to a $50 million deal with KitchenAid, the manufacturer of the trash cans that Astros players bang on when they're cheating. That's it for the JazzTexas news. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll get to the music in just a moment, but first, let me offer a toast to everyone who tuned in this evening to the Doc Watkins Show, especially those of you who ordered food and drinks from our kitchen and bar, which is now open 5 nights a week for curbside and delivery. So here's to many more years of JazzTexas music, food, drinks, friends, and good times. Cheers, everybody. We'd like to start out tonight's program with one of my favorite American songbook standards, a tune called It's Almost Like Being in Love. Brandon Guerra on the drums, Mike Porter on the bass. That's almost like being in love. Welcome to the program, y'all. As always, want to give a big shout out to our production crew. On the audio, Miss Caitlin Hill. And on the video cameras, you know him, Mr. Chris Zients. Science! With Wizard Broadcasting. Also, we want to thank our media sponsor, KRTU 91.7 for doing a terrific job, one of the greatest jazz stations on the planet. Make sure and tune in to KRTU 91.7 on your way to work, on your way home from work, or while you're making dinner. Thank you guys for partnering with us. All right, this next number is a beautiful bossa nova tune by Antonio Carlos Jobim called Meditation. That's Mike Porter on the bass solo, Meditation by Antonio Carlos Jobim. My special guest this evening is a Grammy-nominated drummer and band leader. He holds the record for most performances at JazzTexas by an out-of-town touring band, and was the first out-of-town touring band to ever perform at JazzTexas back in 2016. One of my all-time favorite musicians. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Sammy Miller to the program.
Hey now.
Sammy, how you doing?
Thanks for having me, Doc.
Thank you
for coming
on the show.
You guys sound so good.
I see you got a couple drumsticks there. What are you planning to do with those?
I was playing along. I was into it. I was jealous.
Yeah?
Of Brandon getting to play the drums on those.
Would you like to audition for the band right now?
Yeah, I would love that.
No, Brandon has the job. Sorry, Sammy, but you can always be our runner-up.
How many times am I behind you guys? So we've played, I don't know how many times now, maybe 4 or 5. How many times have you guys played at JazzTexas? I think we're the second most.
You guys are the second most with, I think, 5 or 6 performances, and Mike and Brandon and I are the first most with about 1,600. No, we figured that in an average week, we would do usually, if you count, sometimes multiple shows a night, probably on average maybe 6 shows a night, so maybe 300 shows a year times 4 years, about 1,200 or so, and then some off-site gigs and stuff. It adds up over time, but
I think it does
nothing.
add up. Yeah,
but nothing gives you the kind of experience that you guys have had over the last several years, which is you guys have been living out of a station wagon up until the quarantine, and I guess now the quarantine you're literally living out of a station wagon. But you guys were on the road, just playing town to town to town, just like in the old days, before you and I were even born. And how did that get y'all's chops together?
Well, I think all the musicians I most admire were sort of not picky. They were like, I can do that gig. You hear stories about like any crowd, or like, oh, I could play a tent revival. He did a comedy show, and those were the artists I always connected to the most. And just you hear stories. Basie was playing silent movie theaters, and I wanted to have that flexibility. And I like playing, and I like seeing America. So I just, what did you ask? You said, how did that happen?
No, I said, how did being on the road and just doing gig after gig after gig in all different types of venues, how did that get your chops together as a player and as a band, and how did it help you develop your show?
Oh, the thing that I think it helped us the most was the ability to work in any room. Like conservative, liberal, whatever it may be. Like I feel like we can meet people wherever they are. And I think having really wild experiences, playing after hours gigs, playing daycare centers, it all adds to the whole thing and our ability to sort of transcend what a jazz show is supposed to be. And you guys do that too.
And that was apparent from the very beginning, which is why when you guys played your first show here 4 years ago, we were all just blown away, because you came in and you were just happy to be playing music, and I started to tell you about the venue, and I could tell that it really didn't matter what I told you. You guys were going to do the gig anyhow. and it wasn't because you were desperate, but it's because you just love playing music and you're not picky that way. And I know that some musicians are, and I respect that, but it's like as a piano player, whenever a piano player comes in and touches the piano and plays a couple chords and then starts saying, would it be possible to get a technician in to voice the upper register? And I'm just like, this is going to be a nightmare, Whereas you came in and you were like, hey, we'll play whatever it is, we're game, And to your point, I feel like that's more in line with our heroes of old, where they didn't have a whole lot of options traveling throughout the South in the 1950s.
Right. No, the diva stuff is not what's cool about the music. The whole point of playing an improvisatory music is that you can actually just play on any stage. Or if you're missing somebody, we had a gig last year, right before the quarantine, in November, where Dave, he was having a medical issue, our pianist Dave, and a mental and medical issue.
Yeah.
So he couldn't make the gig, and so we showed up down in Gainesville, Florida, without our piano player. And it was like, all right, is Sammy going to play some piano? Are we going to teach Fonz how to voice these 3 chords? So we did most of the show without a pianist, and then Alfonso, our trumpet player's dad, actually showed up, and he's a piano player. and he played 2 songs with us, and it was like, we all are flexible.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
I played in a cover band up in Austin many years ago, and one night we had an important gig, and the lead singer didn't show up for the gig. No one could get a hold of her, and we had to make do without. Turns out we found out after the fact she was in prison, and she had beat up her husband, and the cops came and took her to jail like right before the gig, and we were like, "Where's Sonia? What happened to Sonia?" And we had to just, I don't imagine Dave missed the gig by beating guys up.
Jeez.
But to my next question, who's gained the most weight during the quarantine of your band?
I'm not going to answer that. I will answer who got the most fit, which is me.
You've gotten the most fit?
Yeah, I started paddleboarding, so I didn't know that a male body was supposed to have muscles around the shoulder. I just learned it's really cool. So like your muscles will get bigger. I used to think it was just supposed to be flat. That's how I always, my body.
But you said paddleboarding.
Yeah. I go out into the ocean.
How'd you gain the upper body strength with a paddleboard? It's not a foot thing? It's not like the bicycle thing?
Oh no. I'm out in the ocean. For those of you at home who are near a body of water, I highly recommend you just get on a board and you just flop around like this.
My shoulder's been hurting me lately.
So
I'm probably not going to try that. So you have been paddleboarding and you've noticed that you've gained some weight?
The good kind of weight.
Yeah, the good. But you really have? How much did you gain?
2.5 pounds. Quarter. 2.25.
Per shoulder?
Yeah, exactly.
So really, how are the other guys? You guys have a 6-piece band. How are the other guys doing?
I was actually hoping to ask you that question because I haven't talked to anyone in months. But that's why I came on.
Well, I do get calls frequently, and they say, hey, whenever the pandemic's over, whatever Sammy quoted you, we'll do it for half.
Those are my guys. I love them.
Talk to them all the time.
No, they're good. I think everyone, and the only person who you guys have never had down there is my sister, who I want to bring next time, our guitarist. But I think everyone went through a lull, like most of us, in March and April. Like, is this going to be reality? And now, if you're going to stay in here, you might as well double down and be like, okay, well, I'm doing this for these reasons, and this is why I chose to dedicate my life to this thing. Hopefully, we're going to leave this thing with more meaning.
Yeah, for sure. And I've heard you guys have some big news on the horizon. Can you give us a sneak preview?
We have some huge news. I'm going to look right at the camera for this part. Are you supposed to look at the camera the whole time?
Yeah,
Doc,
right in, especially when you want to make people nervous. And don't blink.
We have some really big news that I'm going to just say we have big news, and we're going to come back and share that news because I always learned that you're not going to buy the milk if the cow is nearby. If the cow, you're not going to take the milk, the cow. You're not going to take the sheep's milk if you get the cow for free. So I just want to tell you there's some huge news that we're going to be back on the live stream. Hopefully Doc will have us back.
How do we know, without a sneak preview, how do we know that it is a cow and not a bull?
Good point.
There has to be some sort of gimme, like freebie you give us. There has to be some kind of deal. And if it has anything, I know you're in Los Angeles, if it has anything to do with Kawhi Leonard, it will not be on this show.
A little tangent. When we played at JazzTexas, one of your incredibly kind patrons got us tickets to see Kawhi Leonard not play, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but, right. And he still got paid, though, didn't he?
That I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk to Popovich about it.
No, he got paid.
We have something that rhymes with Uzik that you're gonna love, Doc. That's all I can say. Much more than that would be I get in big trouble.
You've completely lost me. Well, so all right, we're gonna have you back on the show in a couple weeks, and I want you to talk about it more whenever this release comes out. But I want to whet everybody's appetite that Sammy Miller is going into the dairy farming business, and however, it's not time yet.
You just got to follow where the money is. And when I hear someone move, that's where I go.
All right, so everybody check out SammyMillerCongregation.com. We'll have Sammy back on this program in a couple weeks to talk about whatever he has to talk about, and it better be good. So if it's
Oh.
if it's like we have a new single and it's
No,
an
no.
original song about the coronavirus called Sammy Miller and the Pandemic, I'm going to be so disappointed, and we're going to send you a bill for that one, Sammy. So it better be something.
I wouldn't do that to you.
If it doesn't have either Elton John or Beyonce in it, I'm going to be disappointed.
All right, deal.
Okay?
You guys sound so good. I just want to really, Brandon, Mike, damn, you guys sound amazing. You guys are the only people who have a working band during the virus, so you're going to sound a year better than everyone else. So thank you guys for what you do.
Sammy, we love you. We'll see you soon, okay?
Peace.
Sammy Miller, everybody. One of my favorite bands. Make sure and check them out when they come back to Jazz Texas after the great pandemic of 2020 is long gone. Okay, we're going to do a song now. We're going to dedicate this one to Tom and Barbara. And this is a song by the great Willie Nelson called Crazy. Thank you very much, y'all. That's Crazy by Willie Nelson. I want to tell you real quick, before we play this next song, I'm very excited to announce we have a new online jazz course available called Conversational Jazz. And if you've been watching the program throughout the pandemic and you've been watching us play music and thinking to yourself, I could do that, you're right, you can. And throughout this course, I'm going to teach you, we're going to take you back to the origins of jazz and take you through all the steps that I went through as a jazz musician, learning how to play this music throughout this online course. It's been one of the fun things to do during the pandemic. We've been so busy performing for the last however many years that when things slowed down over the last few months, it reminded me how much I enjoyed teaching when the time is right. And so it's been a lot of fun putting this course together. You'll find in the link description from the live stream and also in the comments a link where you can check out that course. But I hope you'll join me and we'll learn to play some jazz together during these times. This next tune was written by Frank Lesser. It was recorded on our album entitled, which album was that, guys? It was called The Outlaw from a number of years ago. It's available online through our website, by the way. Piece of cake to order it. Just type in JazzTexas.com and grab a copy of The Outlaw. It's called I've Never Been in Love Before. Here goes. One, two, one, two. Porter on the bass solo. That's I've Never Been in Love Before by Frank Lesser. Thank you, everybody. Well, it's that time of year again. We're down here stuck at Jazz Texas on a Tuesday night. You're stuck in your homes because of this doggone pandemic that won't end. And so the board game won't end, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got you covered if you're trying to find fun things to do, like play board games that have been around for many years and you're tired of playing them, or you're tired of watching TikTok videos of puppies and unicorns and kitties. We've got you covered. We came up with our own unique board game, which you can play with right along from the comfort of your own living room. So without further ado, let's play the board game. By now, you know how the board game works. We pick two famous people, both of whom are boring. We compare and contrast them both, and by the end of the game, I get to decide who's the biggest bore. So tonight on the board game, who's more boring, Gerald Ford or Harrison Ford? Well, on the one hand, Gerald Ford was an American politician who served as the 38th U.S. president. Ford is the only person to have served as both vice president and president without ever being elected to either office. And what's really impressive is that he accomplished all of this without any Russian interference. Gerald Ford's birth name wasn't Gerald R. Ford. His real name was Gerald R. Mazda. A hardworking student, athlete in high school, Gerald Ford could have played in the NFL and received offers from the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers, but apparently being hit in the head repeatedly playing football made him more qualified to go into politics. In 1973, after serving as president, Gerald Ford appeared in the ABC hit TV series Dynasty, which is kind of weird, going from being president to becoming a TV star, as opposed to the normal tradition of going from hosting a crappy reality show to becoming president. On the other hand, Harrison Ford is an actor most famous for playing Han Solo in Indiana Jones, and not famous at all for starring in Paranoia. Unlike Gerald Ford, an actual president, Harrison Ford played a president in the movie Air Force One, where he was much more respected as the fake commander-in-chief than Gerald Ford was as the real one. Harrison Ford holds the rank of Life Scout in the Boy Scouts of America because when you're stuck out in the wilderness and need to learn survival skills, no one's more qualified than a 78-year-old Hollywood actor with a pot addiction. Harrison Ford's films have grossed over $8.9 billion worldwide, $12 of which came from his movie Firewall. That's a tough call, folks, but if you had to pick who bores you the most, Gerald Ford or Harrison Ford, the correct answer is Harrison Ford. Thanks for playing the board game. Well, getting back to the music, we'd like to continue on with a John Coltrane blues tune entitled Equinox. That's Equinox by John Coltrane. We've got time for just one more tune this evening. Before we go, though, I want to remind everybody that our kitchen and our bar are now open Tuesday through Saturday for curbside and delivery. We have a delicious menu of food and drinks that's constantly changing every week. We've got new stuff that we're rolling out, so make sure and order from us. It would be great if you'd order dinner and some drinks and tune in and watch the show with us. We're live here from Jazz Texas every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday night. And this Friday, we have a special edition with Mr. Matt Diekman. They call him the Deke. He is an independent filmmaker, a classically trained violist, very good friend of mine, and we've done a lot of videos and blowing up of pianos together, and you won't want to miss that show. So that's Friday night at 8 o'clock. Once again, how about a shout out to Caitlin Hill on the audio and Chris Zients on the Wizard of Broadcasting. Once again, thank you to KRTU 91.7. This final tune is called Memories of Tomorrow by the great Keith Jarrett. Memories of Tomorrow by Keith Jarrett. Once again, that's Brandon Guerra on the drums, Mike Porter on the bass. We'll see you back here, same time, same channel, 8 p.m. Texas time on Friday night. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.